Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nora, and it's going to be an honor to guide your practice today. The theme for this class is Be Like Water, and it's all about adaptability. For some of us, change can be really difficult, and when presented with a new situation, we might experience some fear, we might feel stuck, overwhelmed, or just flooded with emotions. And that's just a sign that indicates that our Svadhisthana chakra or our sacral chakra is out of balance. Svadhisthana in Sanskrit means the dwelling place of the self. It's the second chakra and it's the energy center of our passions, emotions, relationships, and creativity. It's located near our hips, and the energy of this chakra is what allows us to let go, to move, to change, to transform, and to experience every moment as it is in its fullness. Because the energy of the sacral chakra is based on the water element. The first hand gesture or mudra that we're going to practice today is the Varuna or the water mudra. So to practice this mudra, bring the tip of your thumb and your index, and your thumb and your pinky finger together, and just leave your other fingers just kind of soften down as if they were floating in water, and rest your hands, palms facing up on top of your knees. Also known as the seal of clarity, this mudra symbolizes freedom and fluidity and enables us to follow the path of least resistance and to move with the currents of life. So to start our class, I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Bring your attention inwards. Since we're only able to access the second chakra through our inner sensation, closing our eyes will help us to see things more clearly because we can intuit our way in each pose by how it feels. And now begin to focus on your breath to determine how you're feeling. Does your breath feel tense? Is it shallow? Is it uneven? And without judgment, just gradually let your breath to flow as naturally and smoothly as possible. Take a big inhale. Sigh it out, exhale. And allow your breath to bring you back home to the truth of who you really are, to your purpose, to your higher self. As you continue inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose, begin to feel more at peace with yourself with every breath you take. And with each exhalation, release any tension from your body, any worries or anything else that doesn't serve you during this hour. Let's take this opportunity to set up an intention for your practice or sankalpa. An intention could be to focus on a mantra or on a feeling that you want to cultivate. Whatever arises, trust that it might be exactly what you need to keep you present, just in case your mind starts to wander. If nothing comes up, as we're working on being flexible, like water, you can focus on this mantra. The sweetness of life flows freely through me. As always, I invite you to practice with an open heart and an open mind, remembering that an open mind is like water, calm, flexible, and able to flow with the circumstances and adapt to any situation. But it's also such a powerful force to bring forth the change we need in our lives. Let's take one round of collective breath to seal our intention. Inhale, raise your arms overhead, palms together. And now bring your intention from your mind into your heart. As you sigh it out, exhale. Gently open your eyes and release your hands down to your side. For our first pose, come into a child's pose or balasana. So spread your knees as wide as your mat. Extend your arms long as you drop your hips towards your hip. And rest your forehead on the ground. And let's begin to cultivate Ujjayi breath or victorious breath by sending our breath towards the back of our throat, creating a gentle sound like the sound of ocean waves. And let your breath guide you and move you through this practice. Remember that this practice is your own. I'm just here to give you suggestions. So tune into your body and feel free to come back into child's pose as many times as you need to center yourself. On your next inhale, begin to walk your hands to the right side of your mat. And as you exhale, fall deeper on the pose. You have the option to place your left hand on top of your right. On your next inhale, begin to walk your hands to the center of the mat. And as you exhale, walk your hands to the left side of your mat. Inhale and bring your hands back to center. We come into a tabletop position as we move into cat or cow or Vitalasana. Make sure that your hands are right underneath your shoulders and that your hips and that your knees are hip width apart. So as you inhale, drop your belly and look up at the sky for cow's pose. Exhale, round your back and look at your navel for cat. And let's flow your breath. Inhale for cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Let's go into a neutral spine. Since the sacral chakra is located near our hip, which is where most of our emotions are actually stored, let's just circle our hips a few times to the right as a way to practice loosening our hip and our grip on life and allow it to flow freely. So as you move your hips a few times to the right and a few times to the left, feel free to incorporate any movement that your body may be craving. When you feel complete, come back into a neutral spine as we move into Adho Mukha Svanasana or downward facing dog. Walk your hands a few inches forward. As you inhale, tuck your toes under. And as you exhale, send your hips to the sky. Remember, this is the first downward dog of the practice. Feel free to bend your feet or invite any other movement that your body may be craving. Eventually find the stillness in the pose and begin to bring your attention to a focal point or drishti, either at the back of your mat or the back wall. I mentioned before that I won't be able to do a lot of the downward dog transitions. I will cue them, but most of the transitions I'm going to make will be on my hands and knees. So feel free to follow along in case your wrists are hurting. So next we're moving to Ragdoll or Uttanasana. So as you inhale, walk or jump to the front of the mat. Your feet are hip width apart. Fold forward from your hips. You can dangle your arms. You can sway from side to side or just grab opposite biceps. And notice how this pose feels for you. And feel free to make any adjustments If the pose feels too constricted, just open your feet wider, which will allow you to breathe better and fall deeper into the pose. As you find stillness, just allow any lingering tension to roll down your spine and fall to the mat. Release your hands and very slowly come up to standing for mountain pose or Tadasana. Hands are, the palms of your hands are facing each other. Elongate your spine. Relax your shoulders away from the ears. And as you find alignment, begin to feel grounded, confident, balanced. Exhale and move to forward fold. And as you inhale, moving to halfway lift or Urdhva Mukha Uttanasana. So fingertips can be touching the ground or your shins. The goal of this pose is to lengthen your spine, so bend your knees as much as needed. Relax your head and neck and just look at your toes. From here, just plant your hands and step back. And as you exhale, push into a downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward in between your hands. As we move into a runner's lunge, feel free to leave your hands on the mat or use blocks. This pose is mostly to help us just release the tension in our hips, in our hip flexors. As we exhale, we move into half-wheel split. So bow over your front leg, flex your front foot. And let's move in between the two poses. Inhale for runner's lunge. Exhale, half split. One more time. Inhale for runner's lunge. Exhale, half split. Come back into runner's lunge. And we're going to repeat the same pose on the opposite leg. So plant your hands on the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into a downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale and step your left foot forward in between your hips. And move into a runner's lunge. As you exhale, straighten your front leg, flexing your front foot as you move into half splits. And let's flow with our breath. Inhale for runner's lunge. Exhale, half split. One more time. Inhale, runner's lunge. Exhale, half split. Inhale and come back into runner's lunge. If you use some blocks, just move them to the side. Plant your hands on the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. As you inhale, bend your knees and look up. And as you exhale, walk or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. On the exhale, bend your knees and send your hips back for chair pose or Utkatasana. Bring your arms in front of you. And as you exhale, send your right arm back for an open twist. Inhale and send your right arm forward. Exhale and send your arm to the back of the mat, the left arm for an open arm twist. Inhale for chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward in between your hands and rise into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Bend your front knee, making sure that your knees stack either on top or behind your ankle. Open your arms out to shoulder height. Feel free to bend and straighten your front leg until you find a comfortable stance. And once you do, just gaze to the middle finger of your front hand. Without moving the lower body too much, as you exhale, move into extended side angle, Uttita Parshva Konasana. Bring your right forearm on top of your right thigh and extend your left arm overhead, palm facing down. Open your chest and feel free to either look up at the sky or your front foot, which might help you feel more grounded. As you inhale, move into reverse warrior, Viparita Virabhadrasana. You can slide your left hand on your leg or bring it to your low back for a low bind. As you reach your front arm either to the sky or to the back, palm facing down. On your next inhale, carry your hands to the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale and step your left foot forward in between the hands. And as you rise into warrior two. Again, bend your front knee, making sure that you can still see your toes. Turn your back foot flat to 90 degrees and open your arms out like a capital T. Exhale and move into extended side angle by bringing your right arm over the ear and placing your left forearm on top of your thigh. Inhale to reverse warrior. Lift your torso up. Slide your right hand on your thigh or bring it into a low bind. On your next inhale, cascade your hands to the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. We'll be repeating the same sequence, just one breath per movement. Remember to listen to your body and follow at your own pace. So as you inhale, bend your knees and look up. And as you exhale, walk or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for mountain pose. Exhale for chair pose. On your next inhale, bring your hands in front of you. Exhale for open arm twist on the right. Inhale and bring your arms in front of you. Exhale, open arm twist on the left. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the mat and step back. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward in between your hands and rise into warrior two. Exhale to extended side angle. Inhale to reverse warrior. Lower your hands to the mat and step back. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward in between the hands. Inhale and rise into warrior two. Exhale to extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Lower your hands to the mat and step back. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward in between your hands. And as you inhale, rise into warrior two. Exhale to extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Carry your hands to the mat and step back. And on the exhale, press into downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale and step your left foot forward in between the hands. Inhale and rise into warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Release your hands to the mat and step back. And on the exhale, press into downward facing dog. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. This is the perfect time to take a drink of water, towel off, or just press back into a child's pose. We will all meet in downward facing dog. When you're ready, press into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward in between the hands and rise into crescent lunge or Anjaneyasana. Bend your front knee, making sure that your knees down on top or behind your ankle. And lift your arms overhead like in mountain pose. You're welcome to bring your left knee down to the mat if you want to feel more balanced. We're going to use our breath to invite some freedom into our life. So as you exhale, extend your arms back and out for breath of freedom. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, breath of freedom. One more time. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, breath of freedom. Inhale, crescent lunge. And this time, if you lower your knee, lift your knee up. And on the exhale, move into warrior two. Open your arms out. I love this pose because it helps us to prepare mentally and physically for any challenge that will come into our life. So we're moving into a goddess pose. So turn your feet to the corners of your mat. And on the exhale, start lowering and bending your knees to 90-degree angle. But if you feel like you're, hunching forward, then just come out of the pose a little bit. Keep your spine straight. And feel free to either bring your hands to prayer position, cactus, the arms, or just bring some movement to open your hips. Again, this is your practice, so do whatever works for you. We're going to stay here for a couple seconds. And on your next inhale, rise into Uddita Tadasana, 5-pointed star. Straighten your legs and arms out to the sides. We're going to repeat the same sequence on the opposite leg. So now, just carry your hands to the back of the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale and step the left foot forward into a low lunge and rise into crescent lunge. Make sure that the ball of your back foot is lifted. And again, feel free to bring the right knee down if you want to feel more supported. And let's use our breath to let go of anything that doesn't serve us in our life. As you exhale, move into breath of freedom by sending your arms wide and back. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, breath of freedom. One more time. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, breath of freedom. Inhale, crescent lunge. If you lower your right knee, just lift it up. And as you exhale, move into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Turn the corners out of your feet as we move into goddess pose. And again, feel free to bring another arm variation. It's just about going with the flow. Gonna stay here for a couple more seconds. On your next inhale, straighten your legs and arms out to the sides for 5-pointed star. And now, Pivot your feet to the front of your mat and step your left foot to meet your right. Make sure that you have your blocks handy. We're moving into one of my favorite poses. Standing pigeon or Tadha Kapotasana. This is a really nice way to test our balance and also open our hip. So when you're ready, root into your right leg, then cross your left ankle on top of your right knee, and begin to send your hips back and bend your right leg. Option to use your blocks to feel more balance or to deepen into the stretch. Just remember, only stretch until you feel a comfortable stretch on your outer right hip. If you wobble or stumble, gently tell yourself that's okay and give yourself permission to try again. Balancing poses give us a chance to practice patience with ourselves and to let go of the expectations. So then that way we can transfer that off the mat and enjoy everything that life has to offer for us. On your next inhale, uncross your leg and come back to standing. And just give it a shake to the standing leg so we can repeat the same pose on the opposite leg. So now root into your left leg, cross your right ankle on top of your left, and begin to send your hips back and bend your left knee. Remember that we all have a good side and a better side. So practicing one-legged poses give us a chance to create balance in our lives. On your next inhale, come back to standing, uncross your leg, give it a shake to the standing leg, move your blocks to the back of your mat, and now lower yourself to your back as we do some core work. Since we're practicing going with the flow, our next pose is sexy bicycle crunches. So bend the knees into the chest, interlace your hands behind your back, open your elbows wide so then that way you don't tuck on your neck. It's mostly just to support your head. On your next inhale, press the belly button to the spine and lift up your chest. And as you exhale, begin pedaling your legs as smooth as possible. If you're not feeling this pose, feel free to just do regular bicycle crunches. And just imagine that you're having the time of your life riding your bike in one of your favorite places. Let's gracefully continue pedaling for a couple more seconds. And on your next exhale, release everything down your mat. Inhale and extend your arms and legs long for a full body stretch. And as you exhale, very gently roll to your belly facing the back of your mat. Since the sacral chakra is based on the water element, let's go swimming. Extend your arms long in front of you. And as you inhale, lift your chest and your right and left leg up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale and lift your left leg, your right leg and left arm and lower. And just keeping alternating sides at your own pace until you complete 3 repetitions per side. And once you do, just bring your arms to your sides, palms facing up, and rest your right cheek on the mat before we move into the unwind portion of this class. On your next inhale, slide your hands right underneath your shoulders as we move into our next pose, Makarasana or crocodile pose. Makara is the carrier of the sacral chakra, and it's a mythological crocodile with the tail of a snake. So when you're ready, just press into your hands and lift your chest. And now bring your forearms in front of your chest. Bring your forearms together and the heels of your hands. And as you exhale, just rest your head on top of your hands. If you are feeling some pain in your lower back, just start walking your elbows a little bit farther forward in front of you until you feel a comfortable stretch on your lower back. Big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Our yoga practice gives us an opportunity to embody what it feels to live in alignment with ease, purpose, and inner strength. We can take this opportunity off the mat to help us recognize when we are blocked, resisting change, or trying to control a situation, so we can course correct, trust in the process, and do not stress about things that we cannot control. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. And release any resistance or anything else that is blocking the flow in your life. To exit the pose, just start walking your elbows farther forward and out until you can gently rest your forehead on top of your hand. And you inhale, bend your knees and begin to gently windshield wiper your legs from side to side to reset your spine. Bring your knees back to center. As you exhale, lower your legs to the mat. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders. And as you exhale, press into a child's pose. Open your legs wide. And rest your forehead on the ground. On your next inhale, tuck your toes under. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog so we can move into our next pose, lizard pose or Utthita Krishnasana. Inhale and lift your right leg up. And as you exhale, step your right foot forward on the outside of your right hand. We have several options for this pose. You can stay in tall arms, you can use your blocks, you can even come into the edge of your right foot and very gently press your knee out just for a different sensation. And remember that there's no right or wrong choice as long as you choose whatever option is right for you. Big breath in, sigh it out, exhale. When the energy of our sacral chakra is blocked, we feel stuck and unable to change. Since flow is the absence of resistance, try bringing more flow into your life while you're in this challenging pose by finding the balance between effort and ease. Inhale through your nose, open mouth, exhale, and surrendering to this pose as a way to practice releasing any resistance to change that you might be experiencing off the mat. If you're not already, on your next inhale, come into tall arms. Remove the block if you decided to use one. Press into your hands. Tuck your left toes and lift your left knee off the mat. And as you exhale, press into a three-legged dog. Bend your right knee towards your left shoulder or circle your knee a couple times just to open your hip. As you exhale, release your right leg down so we can repeat the same pose on the opposite leg. Inhale and lift your left leg high. And as you exhale, step the left foot forward on the outside of your left hand. Release your right knee to the mat. And feel free to either do the same option or find a different option. Remember, your two sides are not the same. So feel free to either use blocks, lower to your forearms, or coming to the outer edge of your left foot and gently open your knee out. Just listen to your body and choose whatever option is right for you. Take a big inhale. Sigh it out, exhale. Flow is another name for life, and life is always changing. However, we often resist change. When we hold too tight on the way we think our life needs to be, we block the flow of energy into our life. During a challenging pose like this one, We can unblock our sacral chakra by listening to our body and notice how this pose feels, and by giving ourselves permission to take a different variation. Inhale through your nose, open mouth, release, and use your breath to smooth out any resistance in your body and mind and bring your sacral chakra into alignment. Come back into tall arms. Move your blocks to the side. Press into the hands. Tuck your right toes and lift your right knee off the mat. And as you exhale, move into a three-legged dog. And again, you have the option to bend your left knee towards your right shoulder or just circle the knee a couple times. When you feel complete, just release your left foot down to the mat. Lower your knees to the mat so you can come into a tabletop position. Sit your hips to one side. You have the option to use your folded blanket for our next pose, which is wide angle seated forward fold or Upavishta Konasana. So open your legs as wide as it feels comfortable. Flex your feet. Since we will be holding this pose a little bit longer than usual, feel free to use your blocks to support your forehead or just to bring your forearms into it. So let's begin. Inhale and lift your arms overhead. And as you exhale, bow forward from your hips. Plant your hands on the mat and very slowly begin to walk your hands until you feel a comfortable stretch on your lower back and hamstrings. And once you do, just surrender to the pose and let gravity do all the work. Big inhale. Sigh it out. Exhale. We are so used to deny our feelings and numb our pain in order to function that we run the risk to injure ourselves in a pose like this one by not paying attention to the cues and sensations that our body is trying to send us. That is why it's so important to cultivate mindfulness throughout our practice. By bringing awareness into our body and by inviting exploration instead of pushing beyond what our body can handle. Breathe in through your nose. Sigh it out. Exhale. And tune into your breath so you can honor your body and adjust this pose to what your body really needs. On your next inhale, begin to walk your hands back to help you come out of the pose. Bring your legs together. If you decided to use the folded blanket under your seat, just move it to the side. Make sure that you grab your blocks and very gently come all the way down to your back. for our next pose, which is reclined pigeon. So bend your knees and plant the soles of your feet on the mat. As you inhale, cross your right ankle on top of your left knee and just notice how this feels. If this gives you enough sensation, just stay like this. But if you're craving more intensity, just flex both feet and begin to bring your legs into your chest. And feel free to either grab behind your knee or on top of your knee. Big inhale, open mouth, exhale. You might have heard me say this before, that the hips are the place where we store all our vulnerabilities and fears. One of those fears could be fear of the future. When we hold on too tight to the past, we create tension in our body. So don't be surprised if any of those emotions start opening up to the surface while you're holding this pose. And invite any curiosity, use your breath to try to see what your body's trying to tell you. Take a big inhale, sigh it out, exhale. And release any tension as a way to practice releasing any fear in order to make room for feelings like joy and love. Release your hands, uncross your ankle, and plant the soles of your feet back to the mat so we can repeat the same stretch on the opposite leg. As you inhale, cross your left ankle on top of your right knee. And again, you have the option to stay like this. Bring the knees into the chest and grab a hold of your legs just for a deeper sensation. Just remember to flex both feet to protect your knees. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. We need to remember that not everything will go as expected in our lives. The good thing is that yoga gives us a chance to practice surrendering physically and mentally into a pose. So while you're in this pose, just use your breath to let go of any tension in your body as a way to practice letting go of any expectations of your life. Inhale through your nose. Sigh it out. Exhale. And continue using your breath to let go of any expectation and accepting things the way they are. On your next inhale, release your hands, uncross your left ankle, and place the sole of your feet back into the mat. Our next pose is knee circles. So feel free, as you bring the knees into your chest, feel free to either grab on your shins or behind your knees, just to make this pose more accessible to you. And just use your breath to gently circle your legs a couple times to the right, just to loosen the hips. And when you feel complete, just change the direction and begin to circle your knees a couple times to the left. Bring your knees back to center as we move into our final hip opener of the practice, Supta Baddha Konasana, or butterfly pose. Bring the soles of your feet together and open your knees wide. If this feels uncomfortable, feel free to place some blocks under your knees or some pillows for support. You can bring one hand on top of your heart and one on top of your belly. Close your eyes, soften your jaw. This is a very soothing pose for the nervous system that invites us to rest, to surrender, to let go. Letting go is what our life allows our life to flow. So while you're in this pose, ask yourself, are there any areas in your life where you need to let go? And just remember that happiness is accepting our life for what it truly is and letting go of what we think our life is supposed to look like. moving into the last sequence of our practice, Shavasana. So feel free to stay like this or use your hands to bring your knees together and extend your legs long to the mat. Let your feet fall open to the side. Bring your arms by your sides, palm facing up, as a sign that you're available and ready to receive the benefits of your practice. Let go of your ujjayi breath and come back to your normal breathing. And with each exhalation, release any lingering tension and just take this moment as an opportunity to heal, to surrender. And I will awaken you when it's time. Start bringing awareness into your body by slowly moving your fingers and toes. Gently circle your wrists and ankles. As you inhale, stretch your arms and leg long for a full body stretch, like if you're waking up for the first time today. Bend your knees and with the help of your hands, roll into your right side. You can rest your head on the inside of your right arm or on a block. And while you're in this pose, which also symbolizes rebirth, I invite you to take a moment of gratitude to yourself for making the time to come into this practice, to your body for everything that your body was able to do and will be able to do today, to your fellow practitioners for the energy they share, for this community, for life. With the help of your hands and with eyes closed, come into a comfortable seated position. To close our class, I would like to remind you that nothing in the world is more flexible and yielding than water. As we begin to embody the qualities of water, we can move with the flow of our lives as we stop striving to control, resisting change, and start desiring to surrender. Through our yoga practice, we can balance the energy of the sacral chakra to access the feelings of abundance, joy, pleasure, and clear the way for the creative energy to flow freely. The nice thing is that we can take this flexibility of body and mind off our mat to help us enjoy the new experiences that the universe brings into our lives. To end our class, bring your hands into a prayer position and place them on the third eye chakra in between your eyebrows. May we have peace in our thoughts. Now bring your hands on top of your lips. May we have kindness in our words. And finally, bring your hands to heart center. May we have compassion in our hearts. Thank you for allowing me to guide your practice today, bowing forward from my heart to yours. Namaste.